Welcome to Pack Talk Podcast, episode 138. Today we have some urgent dog news that you can take some lessons away from. Every owner must know about safety, science, and shelters when it comes to dogs, what's going on with dogs. So we'll just get right into it. The first news article here is from Ohio, but there was a family dog that killed a 1-year-old child at a home despite the mother's efforts to try and stop the attack. And the story goes on to say, deputies were called to a home regarding a dog attack about 6 p.m. In the initial 911 call, dispatchers couldn't hear anyone, but they eventually connected with the mother during a second call, who said the family dog had killed her baby, who was a 1-year-old girl, with bites to the face and the throat. Obviously not good to go. It was a terrible ordeal as we've come across in a long time, said one of the deputies. The mother told deputies she was walking inside the home with the child when the dog attack happened. Deputies said they observed defensive wounds on the mother, who said she tried to stop the attack. The mother told them the dog did not have a history of attacking anyone, but had shown signs of aggression to other dogs. The father, who was not home during the attack, later euthanized the animal. He said they're going to hold on to every memory, every picture, every video forever in our hearts of the baby. The case is being reviewed by prosecutors, but charges not expected to be filed. So you do see these stories pop up every so often in the news, but it's just a hard hitter. So I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on this. Family dog attacking a 1-year-old. Apparently has never shown aggression before. Has shown signs of aggression toward other dogs. And the dog bit the kid in the face and the neck. Mother had some defensive wounds on her. So Chris, we'll start with you. What's your thoughts here?
I mean, first, it's horrible. I can't imagine. I've got 2 kids myself. You know, one of them 2 years old. Like I can't imagine what this family's going through. So, condolences to them first. You know what I mean? I think it's quick when you see a lot of these articles pop up. I see 2 main things. People start bashing the family, right? Well, what's the mom doing here? It seems like in this case the mom was present. It wasn't like a case of like not paying attention or anything. Maybe there's some of that, but. Doesn't seem like it.
Well, apparently, according to the news article, they were walking in the house. That's what I gathered from it. They were walking in the house like the mom and the kid are coming home.
Right.
They walk into the house and then this starts.
Right.
Is essentially what I can gather from the article here.
And the other thing you get is like they make it about a breed thing. You know, like, oh, it's a pity. That it's always in them. They're going to just turn at some point. You know what I mean? That's what I see a lot. I think it's not fair to come at a family necessarily. Yes, there's things we can do from a training perspective. There's things we can learn from and do, but things happen. And anybody that has kids knows that it doesn't take much for a kid. I mean, look at that case in the zoo where the kid got into the gorilla enclosure. You know what I mean? It's like, yes, sure, we can say, hey, parent, we've got the ultimate responsibility over our kids. We've got to pay attention, but until you're there with kids, and then you multiply that by you got 2 kids, 3 kids, 4 kids, whatever. It's like you just can't pay attention all the time. So at the end of the day, this is a tragic thing that happened. It doesn't seem like it's fair to point blame or anything like that. But we look at this as like, hey, what can we do? You know, and so like, dude, the younger the kid, the more structure I'm having with a dog. I'm not gonna. I think one problem that we do have as a society is like over-humanizing our animals, right? Like they're part of the family, and like it was not long ago that dogs lived outside, and that was a very normal thing. And now we've put dogs in situations where they've had to change the way we live. You know what I'm saying? And that's fine. Everybody here at this table has our dogs, and they live inside, right? So I'm not saying to go back to that, but we have to remember that dogs are not human beings. Dogs are not our human children. They operate a little bit differently. Things happen. So like at the end of the day, none of us here at this table know this dog. So it's hard to say, why did this happen? You know what I mean? It seems like there's a history of some reactivity and stuff. So there's probably some underlying things going on there that we don't know. But at the end of the day, we can't guarantee, right, our 1-year-old safety. when our dog's free roaming around, has free access. We do things like put our dogs our kids on the dog bed with the dogs. We're taking pictures, doing all these types of things like, oh, look, the brothers, they're getting along or whatever. So like, I look at it from like, we need to have a lot of structure when we're talking about our babies. You know what I mean? Our babies can be viewed differently by dogs as more of peers, not pack leaders, which not just babies, but grown-ups can as well. But I think we just need to have healthy separation when we're dealing with our babies. You know what I mean? And again, not to bash this family at all. Most likely they've been living life with no issues in the house and things, and all of a sudden this seems like this just came out of nowhere. But we know that doesn't happen. We know that things don't just a flip doesn't switch in that dog and all of a sudden he becomes a wild animal. You know what I mean? Like, no, he is an animal, and there were some underlying things going on potentially, but ultimately I think everybody needs to look at your overall structure when we're dealing with dogs and very young kids.
Yeah. Danny, curious to hear your thoughts. Danny's a little bit congested today, by the way.
Yeah. I'm doing my best here. I'm recovering. I agree with Chris. Obviously, it's a tragedy, right? Could have been some things that, some warning signs. I mean, aggression towards other dogs is already a warning sign to me, right? Like, I mean, could say aggression. Obviously we don't know the dog, we don't know the details or anything like that, but could have been dominant tendencies, could have been dominance that it's showing to other dogs. What do dominant dogs want to do? They want to control their environment, right? And again, back to what Chris said, dogs don't have that, level of respect towards, not only the other dogs in the home in this case, but towards a very small child, right? They're not going to have that level of respect. They're not going to know boundaries. And also, the baby's not going to know, the 1-year-old's not going to have a full understanding of those boundaries either. So again, not pointing the blame or anything like that, but obviously things like these can be prevented, right? But, proper steps and proper evaluation of your dog is definitely important. I mean, I know me personally, I don't have kids personally, but if I had a dog dogs are unpredictable as it is, but if I have a dog that's showing any type of, dominant or aggressive tendencies, I'm going to be extremely cautious of what I'm doing around that dog with my child, right? Again, we don't know the details. All we really know is that the mother walked into the home with the child, and it, suddenly happened, right? There could be details that were missing there. Did the child run up to the dog? Did the child grab the dog? We don't know that. But yeah, like I said, if it was me, I'd be very, very cautious. But again, not pointing the blame or anything like that. It's obviously a tragic incident. But yeah, I mean, like I said, be very, very, when you have a young kid in your house, dogs can be unpredictable, right? And just have that thought in your mind that your dog's not going to treat your child or respect your child the same way that it treats you or other humans, right? That's my thoughts on it for sure. Again, could have been prevented, but not necessarily something that we can, again, we don't know all the details, so it's hard to say exactly what led up to it or anything like that. But like Chris said, there's never a switch that just automatically flips, right? And again, going back, it is a pit bull, but, any dog could have done the same thing, especially with the tendencies that this dog seems to have had. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it for sure.
JC, when you hear this story, what are you thinking?
I mean, first, like Chris and Danny said, it's sad, it's tragic. No one expects their family pet to go after their kid. But I definitely think, the society putting a lot of humanization on our animals affects it for sure, especially with pitties. When you talk about pitties, you have two different sides, especially when you get into social media. You got they're aggressive, and then you got their house hippos. They're far from house hippos, right? Those dogs need an outlet for things. When you look at their genetics, they were bred for fighting, bull baiting, stuff like that. So they have that genetic inflammation in them. So I definitely think not giving them that structure, it's definitely can lead up to things unfortunately happening. No blame on the family, like you said, they've probably lived with this dog with no issues other than them showing some reactivity or reactive tendencies, but little things do lead up to the bigger picture, the bigger explosive behaviors that we see, attacking things, attacking animals, children. There's little things that many people that they just don't know to look out for them. So I definitely think there were probably signs that led up to it, but your everyday people don't know what to look for. They're not looking out for them. So no blame to the family. Crate training, but this is a number one thing that crate training can prevent. everyone's like, your dog doesn't need to be in a kennel while you're gone, but it's safer for your dog. It's safer for your family. Like, especially with me, I live in an apartment complex. If maintenance comes into my house or my apartment, my dogs are in my kennel or in their kennel because safety factors. Like, it prevents my dog from hurting somebody. It prevents my dog from getting hurt. Like, they can easily get into other things as well. So, I mean, there's definitely a structure aspect to it. And then also babies, like, they can be very unpredictable. I don't have children myself, but I have plenty of nieces and nephews, and they'll randomly scream, randomly start running, you know. They have no concept of boundaries, stuff like that. So that yeah, exactly. That can be something that, you know, makes dogs uncomfortable. Some dogs, when they get uncomfortable, they feel a need to defend themselves. So I mean, there's so much that just really goes into it. There's no blame to the family, but definitely, like, when you have young children and you have dogs, it's not they're siblings, let them do whatever they want together. Like, that dog needs to understand there's boundaries, there's structures, and that baby itself is a boundary.
Right. Yeah, I have a couple thoughts on this. First of all, based on the information from the story or the news article, it seems like when they got home, the mother and the baby were coming into the house. That's when this attack apparently happened. So first of all, if, like, I'm walking into the house with my kid's, like, I'm wondering, a 1-year-old, I'm trying to remember, my kids are older, so I'm trying to remember if a 1-year-old's actually walking. They may be crawling.
It could be, or just starting.
Yeah,
so I'm wondering,
probably
like,
being carried.
What level the kid was at. Was it, like, being carried, like you said? Was it walking in, crawling in? Because what I'm envisioning here is an excitable dog at the door. Now the mother and the child are coming home, and something triggers the dog to start biting the kid because the dog's already in an aroused mindset. At least that's my interpretation of the story. So a couple things that I think about: if I'm a parent and my kid is getting attacked by the dog, I'm dropping whatever I've got and I'm picking my kid up out of the way of the dog, and I'm kicking the crap out of the dog, you know, to get the kid away from the dog. Once the dog hyper focuses on the kid and decides to target the kid maybe as a prey item, you know, even if you pick it up, that dog might be jumping up trying to get to the kid. You obviously got the kid screaming, dog's making noise, you're freaking out. So a lot going on, but you got to think about what would you do in this situation. You know, so probably my go-to would be to grab the kid, pick the kid up, start kicking the crap out of the dog, you know, go back out the door, close the door, get the dog outside or something, you know, and then try to figure out what to do from there. Obviously, I'm taking care of my kid first, right? Getting it the aid that it needs to recover from whatever happened to the kid, right? But like you guys have already talked about structure, a lot of people, I feel like, just trust their dogs too much when they don't understand a real level of trust with their dog. You know, like, I trust my dog now, but back in the day, I didn't trust my dog, right? So, like, you really got to have, like, good trust before you start letting your dog be free in the house. That's my perspective. So this dog should have been in the kennel, you know, but these people, like you said, JC, they don't really know what they're looking for. So maybe they thought they trusted the dog. Maybe they thought everything was right? And that's a problem that we have as a society is, like, the trust doesn't have to be earned. The trust is just given. You know what I'm saying? Like, trust has to be earned. So I'm going to have structure for my dog. I'm going to have protocols for my dog, especially when I have a kid in the house. For me, because of all the dogs I've been exposed to and seen and trained and had myself, you know, I'm very particular about the trust that's earned, right? So if a dog has not earned my trust, they don't get the ability to be around my kid like that. You know what I'm saying? I remember going to a family event, and someone there had a dog. They had it on a leash. They had just gotten this rescue dog. My youngest kid walks into the room, and this dog just went berserker over my kid. And they had it on a leash, so I was like, there, I got between my kid and the dog, moved my kid away from the dog. But in my head, if that dog would have started moving to my kid, the first thing I'm doing is going to that dog and grabbing that dog and picking that dog up and removing it from the house, you know. But of course, I feel confident in my physical ability. And this is like probably an 80-pound dog. I feel confident in my ability to reach down and pick up an animal, you know, in a way to move it away from my kid and the family and all that kind of stuff. Because in that case, if I pick up my kid, move my kid away, now I can attract more prey drive to my kid. So my goal will be to go intercept the dog, grab the dog, move the dog out, right? Didn't have to do that, but that's what was going on in my head in the situation. So trust has to be earned, not given. People have to really be educated, understand what's going on with their dog. That's why we do this podcast. That's why we do our YouTube channel. That's why we exist, to educate. And a lot of the people we work with as dog trainers, unfortunately, they have problems and then they seek training. Our goal is to teach them that it's the reverse. Get training when the dog's young. Get training when you first get the dog, to set yourself up for having no problems later. You see what I'm saying? But a lot of people, they think nothing's wrong, nothing's going on. Then they have a problem. Then they seek training. Now we're having to backtrack a lot of things. If people can be educated, know what they're looking at, know how to handle their dog, know what their dog is thinking and going through, then they're off on a better foot. You know what I'm saying?
Or the rare cases, seek the training before you have the dog.
Right.
How many times have we seen a puppy where we're like, dude, y'all don't want this puppy.
Yeah,
Y'all don't need this dog. This dog's going to be a problem.
Yep.
I feel like there are a decent amount of people that are reaching out now
Yeah.
before they get a dog, thankfully, but it's like the education still needs to be spread out there. The word still needs to be spread. Educate, know what you're looking for, know more about dogs. So if you're listening, share the podcast to help people get some education. And we've done podcasts on dogs and kids before. We have protocols for dogs and kids particularly because it's such a sensitive thing. But this situation should not be happening. Like, a kid should not be dying from a family dog. Like, if you had a random dog come off the street and attack your kid, I think that's a little bit different, you know? You need to be paying attention. Like, we did a React video. This dude, I don't know if you guys know which one I'm talking about. There's this dude in a minivan, his kid's out there.
Yeah.
Or they're like in the driveway?
Yeah, they're in the driveway. The white dog, this dude comes out yelling at the dog, gets the dog to go away, right? Like, that dude did a good thing, right?
Yeah.
You always got to pay attention. You never know when a random dog's going to come running up after your kid, or even something else, you know, like a coyote. You know, that's a big problem in a lot of places. Or if there's a snake, like a rattlesnake laying around, your kid's not paying it. Like, you need to, you know, pay attention to your kid, teach your kid how to be aware of their environment, what to do in different situations, and teach kids not to just trust any animal. Whether it's a dog, whether it's a cat, whether it's whatever. You don't just trust the animal. You know?
You go out in public and, like, how many parents are just letting their kids run right up to a dog, and it's
Right.
like, hey, like, that's how you get your kid bit.
Exactly.
Don't teach them that balance.
Well, and the younger the kid is, the more fragile they are. You know what I'm saying? So when you have a big, powerful dog, it doesn't take much. I mean, a bite or two to the jugular in the face. In this case, unfortunately, it doesn't take much or much time for life to expire in a little child. You know what I mean? So you also have to factor that in as to, it's not a breed thing in the sense that, oh, pitties are bad, right? But it's like, pitties are powerful, Rotties are powerful, Dobermans are powerful. Like, powerful, the more powerful the dog and the more fragile the human being, the quicker that damage is going to be incurred, right?
Yeah.
So those are factors to consider as well.
Yep. All right, our next story is about animal shelters being overwhelmed as more owners surrender pets, and this is happening around the country, at least in the United States, probably in other countries as well. But the story is, here's a quick synopsis. There's a guy waiting in line at an animal care and control. He was waiting in line for 2 hours to give up his dog. He was 53. He had the easygoing pocket bully for 2 years. But a veterinarian office quoted him $1,000 to treat the dog's severe ear infection, and it was too much for the resident, who also needs funds for an upcoming move. This is what the guy said. If I could afford her, I'd be at the vet right now. But you've got to choose between living, rent, gas for the car, or the dog. It's hard. She's part of the family. I'm just going to stop right there before I keep reading. So if she's part of the family, why the hell are you giving her up?
Can't afford her.
This shit, this shit
Well, but
pisses
the
me
problem
off.
is how long was the ear infection until it became a $1,000 vet bill?
Right.
Like, there's early signs to those things.
Right. Continuing on, the guy sitting outside in 80-degree heat with several other people waiting to surrender their pets. More people have been returning their pets. It's overwhelming shelters and rescues. Some pet owners and experts say it's becoming harder to own a pet because of growing economic pressures. Landlords adding monthly pet fees and one-time pet deposits and costly vet care and food. The rise in owner surrenders has particularly affected city-run shelters. mandated. Well, I guess some of these shelters city-run are mandated to take every animal. That's ridiculous. Other shelters and rescue centers can choose whether or not to take in pets. And that's basically the gist of the article here. Let me see if I'm missing anything. Euthanizations have started to increase. Despite more surrenders, the number of animals euthanized is about the same as last year. All right, that's kind of the gist of the article here.
Well, I'm looking at this graph right now. I don't know if you can see that, but
yeah,
it looks like it spiked before, like around COVID, it seems, and now it's
What, surrenders?
Yeah, and now it's spiking again.
2025.
Yeah,
Well, that's because during COVID, everyone was home with their
everyone's
dogs.
Right.
Yeah.
You see a lot of people are like, oh, I just don't have time for it.
Yeah, or they lost their job and they legitimately can't afford to like feed their dog, which is understandable, I guess. But it's like, I mean, I've seen homeless people on the side of the road with their dogs, and I mean, dog's not, chubby, but it's not like it's not, doesn't seem malnourished or anything like that. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, if it's complicated because certain people could probably be tight on money and still do what it takes to give that dog a good quality of life. Other people might not just be motivated enough to do that. So I mean, it does get complex depending on a specific person's situation. But I mean, regardless, it does suck with all this, with the euthanization going up too. It's just like these dogs are getting surrendered to die. Right, they're not getting a second chance at life being surrendered or anything like that. So it's something to think about too when you're surrendering your personal dog. Like this guy said, he's part of the family. It's like, are you surrendering this dog for a second chance at life? Are you surrendering this dog for the end of its life? Right, like what's I mean, depending on what shelter you're bringing it to, is the shelter itself overpacked with dogs? Do they not have enough staff? Are they going to be more inclined to euthanize these dogs? So I mean, it's a real shit situation, but it is a legitimate thing where you might not be able to afford giving your dog the life. I mean, especially with this first scenario with the vet bill. I mean, $1,000. I know plenty of people that couldn't afford that for their dog. So it's like, it gets complicated. But
here's the problem: if you're going to get, at least from my perspective, if you decide to get a dog, then you accept the fact that the dog costs money to take care of, right? So why would you even get a dog to begin with if you're not ready financially to take care of that dog long term? At the end of the article, they went through some basic costs of pets. First of all, the veterinary care, they estimated annual exams are $400 to $600, which that's basically what I see a lot, but there are cheaper ways to do that. That includes vaccinations, parasite prevention, blood, urine, fecal testing, which the preventions, that is a pretty big cost, but there are cheaper ways to do that for the preventatives, right? It does bring up teeth cleaning. It says that teeth cleaning can be around $800. I don't think you have to do that every year, and if you actually do a pretty good job of keeping your dog's teeth clean preventatively, you may not need that. But if you have like a problem like the vet or like the ear infection, like $1,000 seems steep to me for that. But there could be other things that go on. If you have to go to an ER and urgent care with lab work, imaging, medications, that could be anywhere between $500 to $2,000, which aligns with what I've seen in the past. It brings up pet insurance, which a lot of people are doing pet insurance these days, which is probably actually a good idea to do. They said around $60 per month for dogs, $30 per month for cats. It could probably be less depending on your insurance that you choose. And then pet boarding, they actually put this into there. Boarding between $60 to $100 each day to board your dog, which is probably an accurate number across the country. So, because, you're going to take trips or whatever, you got to have someone watch your dog, right? Take care of your dog, whether it's Rover, whether it's some kind of boarding place, these kind of things. So those are kind of the costs that they're putting into this article, but they're not putting food into the article. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's a cost. Those are probably your biggest costs. But like I said, if you're not ready to take care of a dog financially, be ready for that. You shouldn't get one, right?
Yeah.
Don't go get a dog if you're not ready. Because if you're making the choice to give up a dog, to me, that's ridiculous. I don't care what's going on. You know,
Well,
if you're having a behavior problem, if you're having a expense problem. What are your thoughts, JC?
I mean, things do happen, right? Like, a lot of people, they get dogs, they're like, oh, I can afford this, and then, you know, your job gets shut down or something
Right,
like that, right? Like,
right.
things do happen, but, like, now we talk about not humanizing dogs, but then we also, like, there is the factor, like, if you have kids, you lose your job, you getting rid of your kids?
Right.
Like, you made a commitment by choosing to get a dog. So, and a lot of people too, like, you see it all the time on social media. Oh, looking for a home for my dog. They're anxious. Like, you rehoming that dog is making them 10 times more anxious.
Right.
And, like, people don't want to talk about it, but the first dogs that get euthanized in shelters are owner surrenders. There's so, like, especially locally, a lot of our shelters, you drop your dog off, they're not seeing the next day. They're getting euthanized that day because they don't have the room.
Right.
Now, and unfortunately, like, the overcrowding of shelters also goes into, the shelters are partially to blame. Do you know how many, like, the shelter lied to me personally with my own dog. They don't really know these dogs. So now they're making up things and they're playing on heartstrings to get people to adopt these dogs.
Right,
Now they
right.
have these dogs that they can't handle because a shelter dog is not for everybody.
Right.
So now these dogs are getting returned. Now they're getting euthanized. Like, there's so much that goes into it. So, I mean, if
It's
you want
definitely a problem.
yeah, it's
you know?
definitely a problem.
There's like a big problem with the shelter rescue, giving up your dogs, dogs up for adoption, like the whole, there's a problem with that whole cycle.
Yep.
You know, like you said, shelters making up stories about dogs to try and get them adopted. That's just going to have someone give up that dog later.
Yep.
Because it's not what they thought it was going to be. You know, the
Now,
shelter doesn't really even know the
No.
dog. you
And
know?
they just say what they can, get them a home, which, I mean, they need the homes, they need
Right.
the space, because they're constantly finding strays, people are constantly dropping dogs off. But I
Right,
mean,
right.
you're better off saying, hey, I truthfully can't tell you what this is going to be like. Consult an expert, right? Like, find somebody that can read the dog's behavior. Start working with someone from the get-go. Like, they talk about, you know, vets and all of that, but I've never gone to a shelter where they're like, hey, why don't you find a trainer and then adopt a dog? Like, get somebody that can help you work through problems that might arise.
That takes more time. They want the dog adopted quick.
That's fair. But,
you
yeah,
know?
that
Gotta
is
get
fair.
that dog out of there.
Well, what's the, you know, like if there's like dogs out in the woods and someone's like, oh, I found these dogs, they trap them.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
they bring them to the shelter. Like, what's the point
Those
of that?
dogs were thriving in the
Right,
woods.
because the dogs are like in the woods, they're living a life, you know, but then you trap them, you bring them to a shelter, now they get put down. Like,
That's a humanizing thing.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
like,
it's-
what if you saw a 5-year-old kid in the woods?
Yeah.
Right.
You know, like you try to, hey, we
Right.
got to call DSS. We're going to rescue that kid. Like,
Right.
that dog's in its element.
Yeah.
For the
Right.
most part, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's obviously,
There's probably some parasite stuff going
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
like, you know, they're still living their best
That's
life.
but there
part of
are
the
in
animal.
wolves and coyotes and foxes and stuff, and they're thriving, living their best
Well,
life.
there
you
was
know?
got
a story
parasites,
one
too.
time someone
Yeah.
did
Yeah,
see
yeah.
a wolf in like a park and they thought it was a dog.
Yeah.
And they tried to capture it.
Yeah, they tried to catch it and it was a wolf.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's like, I don't know. I have a lot of views. I could probably do a whole podcast here because I think there's
Give us a simplified
there's a
version.
bunch of issues in it. Like, first of all, this
Give us the AI summarized version of your perspective here.
I think I don't like the article because it seems written from us like they're trying to paint a victim picture and they're making it
Yeah.
about the economy and making it about this and that. I'm like, dude, there's ways. There's like, you don't. I don't know. Well, like I probably have controversial views, but I don't vaccinate my dogs. I don't use preventatives for my dogs. I rarely go to the vet. If it's a serious thing, I'm going to the vet. Now, if there's something like I'm going to take care of my dog, point blank. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's an excuse. I get it. Some people are gonna come at me and say, well, you have to have these things, whatever. But I'm like, I grew up having dogs my whole life and didn't do all that stuff, and we took care of our dogs, you know. There's a piece where there is to play a little bit of the devil's advocate. I think there's a threshold. There is a balance as to how far I will go. Like, yes, my dog is part of the family, but my dog is not my son, not my human child. I have a human child and I have dogs, and I have a commitment to that dog. I'm going to take care of that dog, but there is a financial threshold for me that I'm not going to put my family in a financial hardship that could potentially now affect my children. Yes, my children are more important than my dogs. There's a tier system, so I do have a threshold of I'm not gonna drop X amount of money right now. Ear infection, something like this, like you have to take steps just like anything else to be prepared to bear the financial burden of something like an ear infection coming up or something like that. But then the issue of, like you guys brought up, it's like, that dog is most likely getting euthanized. So you're waiting in line to take that dog to be in an unfamiliar environment and be killed anyway. So it's like, I think at the end of the day, we need to take responsibility of whatever the situation is. Take responsibility of your dog. So even if that means you take your dog to go euthanize the dog, I'm not saying that's an ideal situation, but it's like, if that's the dog's destiny anyway, because you're setting it up, you think in your mind, I'm giving the dog a chance, right? But it's like, not really, right? Like these shelters and rescues are freaking full, and they're killing dogs. Even no kill shelters are killing dogs.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
They just don't kill them there. They send them to a different shelter.
Right. And so the other piece of the puzzle is the rescues and the shelters themselves. I'm like, if you give people an easy out and keep that door open, people will take it 100%. We live in a very we lack impulse control. We live in a society that's like, I want what I want now, and I'm going to do what's best for me. We're very selfish, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like, if you give them the door, people will take it 100% of the time. I think we need to put more responsibility on the dog owner to, hey, you have to solve this problem. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Now, I think I recently saw, I don't know, it was a Facebook group I'm a part of that's like a vet group or something like that, but I saw an organization that's it's a rescue type of organization, a 501c3 that does not take dogs. They raise funds simply to help people like, hey, I don't have money for this vet care. You got to go through these loopholes and stuff to prove that you got problems, whatever, but it's designed to financially support people. I think that's a very good organization. I think that's a very good thing to be able to help people in those types of situations, because like JC said, life can take a wild turn on people where you could be making a very good amount of money, and then all of a sudden you got nothing. You know what I mean? All of a sudden I've seen cases of people that were making 6 figures a year, and all of a sudden they're homeless. You know what I mean? So like, life can take turns and things like that. So at the end of the day, I think the responsibility needs to come on the dog owner, right? I think rescues and shelters are a part of the problem, in that it's an easy solution for them, and sometimes it's not their fault. Sometimes that's state regulations. Like I think this looks like the Chicago Sun Times, so it's like up north. I don't know, like they might be a little bit different as far as the government saying they're forcing shelters to do certain things, right? And obviously funding plays a factor as well. If you do, I don't know how it all works, right? But it can affect your funding and things like that. But I don't know. It's a very complex situation. I think there's more we could deep dive into, but ultimately, I think we as the owner have to take ownership, regardless of what that looks like. Whether it's, hey, I'm gonna have to fork up some cash here, I'm gonna have to figure out some insurance situation, or I'm gonna be the one to euthanize my dog. And I think that sounds harsh, but I think if we did that, and you were the one that had to go into the vet or into the shelter, and you had to pull the trigger, so to speak, I think you would see a little bit of a change. I think that would affect people a little bit differently.
I mean, yeah, people.
Some people would still do it, but
yeah, I mean, people surrender to the shelter too. You know, they're essentially avoiding that. So I think if you
in their head, I gave that dog a
to,
chance, when really it's
exactly.
the same.
Yeah, even if it's like a delusion where they know the dog's going down, but they're like, hey, it's possible. You know what I mean? But I mean, yeah, I think if people had to actually be there and deal with it, I think we definitely see less surrenders. I think we'd see people more motivated to put in the work and to scrape up that extra bit of cash to take care of their dog. I mean, like we said, even if it's the minimal amount of care, whether it's just you're only paying for food and like nothing else, that's better than sending it off to be euthanized. So, yeah, it is complex, but bottom line, like we've all kind of said, is that you're taking on a responsibility for the life of your dog. Make sure that it does live a quality life that it that it deserves. But yeah,
I'm big on preventative care myself, for myself and my dogs. And if you're good about preventative care, you should have less problems later, like these emergency visits or these sudden costs. That's not going to avoid it completely, you know. But if you have a good preventative care plan, that comes down to like your dog's nutrition, you know, the way you take care of your dog, keeping track of their teeth, keeping track of their ears. Like this guy had a ear infection. You know, if he would have been, again, I'm not in his situation, but from my perspective, you pay attention to the ears, you clean them out. If you start seeing things going wrong, you go to your primary vet before it's a problem, say, hey, I'm a little bit concerned about this. They can tell you if you need to do something different, right? All these things kind of compile to helping you long term not have bad problems. But again, your dog can go off into a yard and play and stab themselves on a piece of stick or something that was sticking out of the yard and get a huge puncture. Now you got to go take care of that. You know, there's a lot of different things that can happen. So it's not going to avoid 100% of urgent needs that arise, but I think a good prevention plan is going to help you kind of manage a lot of that risk.
Well, we've also lost the ability
things.
to self-care even for our human, like I've seen people like going to the vet or going to the doctor with their human kids for things that I'm like,
Right.
That's a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or like, hey, do some first aid, figure, like there's YouTube, there's a lot of different things. It's like learn how to treat certain wounds, and there's ways to get antibiotics and things like that on now, whatever. Vets might freak out, say, oh, it's not regulated, whatever, but there's ways to do those things to self-treat your dog as well. You just have to learn. You got to take the ownership and figure that stuff out. Preventative care, huge. How many things, like teeth health is related very much so to the nutrition of your dog. So you could avoid that whole bill of like having to take in, I gotta not euthanize, but what is it when you put them to sleep or whatever?
Oh yeah,
you gotta
dental.
put them under or whatever, sedate
Right.
them, right? And then you got to do the teeth cleaning, and it's like you probably could avoid that bill by maybe spending just a little bit more on some better quality nutrition.
Yeah.
You could have different food, but you can also brush your dog's teeth at home. You can brush the teeth. You can get a scraper. You can scrape the teeth, because the concern is the buildup of
Right.
plaque on the teeth, just like it is with our own teeth. Right? I think it takes 24 hours for something on like some plaque on your tooth to like solidify to where you can't just brush it off. You have to scrape it off. And if you don't treat that over time, it's going to infect or affect your whole oral health, and your oral health affects the rest of your health. So anyway, not to go off on a tangent, but
And with that, like clinics, like you don't have to go to a vet
Sure.
every time. There's
Right.
so many clinics like that pop up just everywhere.
right.
Like I don't know, $1,000 for that has to be a crazy ear infection.
Right,
'Cause,
right. Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
That
they're in
does seem
Chicago.
gross. Yeah.
That's fair.
Next story, we got a shelter dog going out for a walk. Couldn't contain his excitement. He's jumping up. The guy's got the volunteer has the leash, taking the shelter dog out for a walk. Going to the door, dog can't contain his excitement. He's jumping up. He's jumping around. He's having a good ass time. He grabs the fire alarm. Boom! Triggers the fire alarm in the animal shelter. And everyone starts freaking out. They have to evacuate all the animals, all the people, So kind of a funny story here. This dog, they got a picture of it. It's like a lab-looking dog.
He looks like
having a good time.
He's
type
having
that
a
would
good
pull
time.
a
He's
fire
having a
alarm.
good time. He loved that ordeal. So I was curious as to you guys' thoughts of this dog pulling the fire alarm and evacuating the whole shelter just because he's having a good time. He's
Hilarious.
jumping up. He's
But
excited.
there's a scoop here. You know what really happened?
Huh.
The guy pulled the fire alarm and he
Yeah.
blamed the dog. The dog was excited. I didn't mean to do that. No, it's just that's funny.
Yeah.
Dogs are wild. He's ready to go, and he pulled the fire alarm. Probably not intentional, just effing
Yeah.
off.
Having a good
Someone
old
taught
time.
him-
JC,
taught
you
him
got
to
some
pull a fire
thoughts?
alarm.
I mean, he was just having a good time, like hopping around.
Now he may have gotten reinforced, so now next time they go out
Yeah,
there,
he was doing
it
it
might
on
be a
purpose
problem.
this time.
Well, as a dog trainer, I got some thoughts.
Oh, yeah.
is if you're a shelter, if you're a person, teach your dog not to jump up.
Yeah.
Then you could avoid the fire alarm situation. Because that's definitely an ordeal for the place to be dealing with this. But at your home, if you go to get your leash and your dog's jumping up, it can scratch your walls, it can flip the switches, it can hit your own fire alarm in your house, depending on your
If you're
setup.
short like me, you can get a black eye.
Yeah.
It can start hitting you. So as a dog trainer, reinforce the dog keeping all four paws on the ground. You can be excited, but keep all four paws on the ground, right? So that's going to take
You said this was a shelter, right?
Yeah, this is a
These
shelter.
people don't care about training.
Well, the thing
they
is,
just want to get the dog out.
the
there.
thing is, the shelter, and I've tried to work with shelters before, but the thing is, like, if they could implement some good behavior, it's not very difficult. That makes that dog better for adoptability.
True.
Well, look at it on a
Yeah.
grander scale. Our first story we talked about, right? This
Right.
kid getting killed at the threshold of a door where the dog's energy is crazy and high, right? So, this is a funny story. A dog, but most likely that's not going to be this dog's future, but this is where it starts. You know what I'm saying? When he
It's
can't
getting
control himself, no
reinforcement.
impulse control or whatever. So, yeah, for sure, that's a factor.
But I mean, half these people too, like you look at shelter volunteers, like most of them are like high school, college kids. Like they don't really like have any concept of.
Or they're full. They're so full, just taking the dogs out for potty breaks.
Yeah.
Is like I get that too, for
yeah,
sure.
they're just overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, if you're a shelter, you get some volunteers coming in. You have like a volunteer program. Hey, this is how we take dogs out. This is how we do this. This is how we do that. You get everybody on the same page. Now you can start working on these things.
But you're also
to help
managing
them.
volunteers.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
so like to be able to put so much stipulation on people that are just there, like I want to help, I want to do my part and help the dogs. I want to pet some dogs and give
Well,
them
helping
some
the dogs is teaching them not to jump at the fire alarm,
Right.
people.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You can't volunteer.
and then you have no volunteers.
Yeah.
It's a
All
tough
right.
scenario.
Moving on to the next story here. A little bit of science for you. Dogs can detect Parkinson's years before symptoms with 98% accuracy. So the summary here, dogs trained to detect Parkinson's disease using scent have shown remarkable accuracy in new research. In a double-blind trial, they identified skin swabs from people with Parkinson's up to 80% sensitivity and 98% specificity, even when other health conditions were present. The findings offer hope for a simple, non-invasive diagnostic method using biomarkers that appear long before traditional symptoms, potentially allowing earlier treatment and slow disease progression. Like we talked about earlier, if you can prevent something earlier, it helps you long term, right? So basically what they did was they had these dogs that were trained to detect a particular odor, and then they figured out that these dogs can detect the odor long before Parkinson's symptoms actually start occurring. You know, and Parkinson's is like you start developing that as time goes on, and it's pretty common. You know, there are quite a, I don't know the number,
Yeah.
but there's a decent amount of people that end up having Parkinson's disease.
It's not rare.
Right, not rare. But if you can figure out that it's incoming, you know, then you can take action. You know, whether that's like medication or supplement. I don't know all of the ways that are used to help with Parkinson's. You know, I think there's
There's
other
some
things.
lifestyle changes that you can do.
Lifestyle changes. There's other things they do. Like I'm not read up on all the latest on Parkinson's, but because I think it's like related to your brain, your nerves, how all this kind of stuff communicates with each other. So there are ways to help that, you know, to slow the disease progression, like they said. So what's your thoughts when you read something like that, or you hear something about this? We'll start with Danny on this one.
I mean, it's obviously interesting. It gives an insight onto what else can we use dogs for. I mean, obviously dogs are used for detecting, seizures, strokes, things like that. In this case, it's Parkinson's, which is super cool in my eyes, right? I mean, again, what else can we use these dogs for? I mean, dogs have, much, much, much better scent radius than we do. They can distinguish millions of scents compared to our nose, right? So
I can't smell shit myself.
I can't smell shit either because I'm congested right now. But yeah, I mean, it's just cool to me. I mean, it's very interesting. But like I said, it does make you think. What else can we build off of this, right? Like, what else can we experiment with dog detection and things like that? But I mean, yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I mean, it's very interesting to me, for sure.
JC, thoughts?
I mean, I feel like with like even just things like this, like Danny said, like it's super interesting, it's cool, but why aren't we incorporating dogs and using them more for medical findings?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like
I'll tell you exactly why.
but like we have all of these tests and stuff, and like there's so many times where it's like, oh, we didn't find anything, years go by, now it pops up, right? Like now, I mean, there is probably a money aspect of that, right? But like we would probably see such like much more success by teaching and using the dogs to find these things. We would be able to find cures to things better, right? We'd catch things before they progress to a point where they're not stoppable anymore. So I mean, I definitely feel like, there's a factor in that. Like we can't just like, these aren't just, they are family pets, but they're also like pretty insane beings that can do some pretty insane things.
Right.
Why aren't we doing anything with that?
You gotta train them to do it, but they can do it.
Yeah,
Chris,
well,
what's your
I think
thoughts?
we'll look at I'd be curious. What's the cost of buying a
Curiosity.
trained dog to detect Parkinson's or whatever, right? And implementing that in like your like a primary care doctor.
Yeah.
You go
Have
in
the
they
office dog.
Right,
Yeah,
Just comes in
exactly.
to
exactly.
hang out with
right,
you.
right. Compared to the cost of like all these machines that we're using to detect the later stages of it and treat whatever, like I think that's just medical care. The whole premise is to treat. Hey, come to us when there's a major issue, right? And then we address it from there. When it's like we should be, our health should be more of like a prevention thing. You know what I mean? It's like I bet you in the long run this would be a way cheaper option, right? You have a trained dog, come in, give you a little sniff, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Dog's like, oh yeah, this one, we got one right here.
Well, and that goes back to like treating like the actual cause versus
Right.
just treating the symptoms.
Exactly.
Like they wait for symptoms. They're like, oh, you're fine. You're not feeling symptoms. You're
Yeah.
good. Go ahead.
You have to take control of your own health, at least right now, unless you have a doctor that's good about looking ahead with you. But you have to take control of yourself and push your doctor or your team of doctors to look at things ahead of time, be preventive versus be reactive, right? The medical system is set up right now to be reactive, but you can push them and demand them to be preventative, right, with your medical team, however you set up your medical care. But going back to how dogs can be implemented, like Chris brought up the cost of like a trained dog and all this, but what's the lifespan of that dog? That could be 10 years of potential detection out of that dog, and then you have to basically get another one, right? And then the ongoing cost. So that's what you're looking at as far as doing that versus a machine.
Yeah, but how often are those machines breaking?
Right. Exactly. That's
Maintenance,
what I'm
gotta
saying.
maintain the
They're
machine.
more expensive.
That's what I'm saying. You have to look at those
Right.
costs and figure out what cost is going to be more effective long term. I think everybody would like to have a cool dog in the office they can pet on, and then that dog's just doing its thing, actually sniffing you, but you just think you're petting the dog.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, one other thing is like how you said with like machines is like there's maintenance and things like that. I mean, but with dogs and with training in general, I mean, there's likely some maintenance that comes into play
time,
for
money.
scent work and things like that. Like
Sure.
if
Going
a
back
dog-
to the previous discussion, you got ear infections, you got
Yeah.
vet visits, you got this, you got all
You're
these
dealing with a
things,
living
too. Right.
animal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If the dog doesn't practice, sniffing out this certain thing for months, and then you're like, oh, let's throw this dog back into the field to like try to, get it to work on this stuff. It's like, if you haven't been practicing it, the dog doesn't have that value towards what it's looking for anymore. It's like just going back. It has to be maintained. Right,
Well, who
along
would do
with
that? Like,
other
that's the
training.
question you got to ask. Like, let's say we're a
Right,
doctor,
right.
a practice, right? It's like, are people going to come to us and pay us to use this service, right?
And then you
I
have-
don't think a lot of people would, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
Maybe.
you have a lot of skepticism, I'm sure,
Yeah.
around it. Like,
Maybe.
it's not gonna work.
I think it's valid, and I think we
Yeah,
should. But I think
for sure.
realistically, everybody goes to the doctor when we got problems.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So to think I should go and check myself for Parkinson's with this dog.
Yeah, who
like,
thinks that?
I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't think it'll be very.
Popular thing.
Hopefully,
Well,
I'm
but
wrong.
is
Could
Isn't
be part of an
Parkinson's
overall
genetic?
plan.
What's that?
Isn't that genetic?
I don't think it's 100%.
I think there
genetic.
can be a genetic component,
I
but
think again, I'm not read up on Parkinson's. I should have read up more on
I
Parkinson's.
think
but
Peter
You didn't
Attia's
do
got a
your
good.
research.
He's
Yeah,
got a
he-
good section on Parkinson's.
Yeah.
I read it because my
Right.
my mom's showing it and Grandma had it, so
Right.
I'm like, maybe I got it.
That's what I'm saying.
Better
I
go
haven't
find
read
yourself
up
a
on
dog.
it.
Maybe I need a dog. I need to find where they're doing these dogs.
But if it's in your genetics, then I would just assume that you're probably exposed to
Right.
the possibility of it. So you just have to have a good medical team that you're taking action with now.
Right.
But going back to the article, I think it's really cool. Obviously, dogs can do a bunch of things that people don't know or understand, especially with scent detection. You basically can do it with basically anything you want to detect. You just have to train them to do that, right? They're very effective, and you have to maintain that, make sure it's reliable and everything. But I think it's cool. I think there's a way to implement it. I think it should be implemented, and I'm sure places will implement it. But going on to the next article here. All right, we got dog ancestry provides clues to ancient human activities. All right, societies don't change in a vacuum. All right, let me go through the article here. Archaeologists previously established an approximate timeline for when society's practices shifted in the northwestern Siberian Arctic, including when ancient people started to handle metal tools and used reindeer for transportation as a livestock. But researchers wondered who influenced the ancient Siberians to take up these new ways of life. Genome sequencing brought archaeologists and genealogists together, and the combination of physical and molecular evidence helps them paint a more thorough picture of ancient life. All right, just going to skip some of this to get to the main meat here. Where humans go, so do their dogs. Studies have shown that in parts of the world where it's very hard to track what ancestral humans were doing, dogs, man best friend, are a great way to do that. To trace the heritage of dogs living in the Siberian Arctic over time, The colleagues collected ancient DNA from dog bones, teeth, and preserved hides. They sequenced the genomes and found all this information. The dog remains were taken from sites spanning modern-day Europe, the Middle East, and Asia, including the steppe, a wide region that spans from Central Europe to Manchuria. All right, moving on here. Got a little lizard on you.
Mm-hmm.
In a few hundred years, we see them shifting from what we think looks more like this really ancient lineage that's been around for thousands of years to something that looks a lot more like dogs you had from the south of the steppe. All right. They found that Siberian dogs evolved in isolation until a point after 6,900 years ago, which suggests that dogs from southern and western areas started to visit the Arctic. All right. This coincides with, in terms of what the human population was doing at the time. The ancestry data showed that the first visitors came from the steppe, later traveled. Because the ancient human genomes did not change throughout this time period, they believe that ancient humans traded with the Siberians. All right. They continue to plan to decipher how these genetic changes influenced ancient Siberian dogs. Genes from outsider groups may have led to behavioral and morphological differences, including size and coat color variations. Another remaining question concerns why ancient humans brought dogs along on their journeys. Were they working or simply companions? They're going to continue to look at the data. All right, so anyway, that article didn't really give us a lot of information, but that we didn't already know. But what we do know is that humans, they were exposed to dogs over time. They became like working with the dogs, use dogs for a bunch of different reasons. That's basically what this article is explaining. And this article at the end is asking, we have more questions about why humans brought dogs along their journeys, right? And they also identified that humans modified dogs, which we already know. So this isn't new information. You know what I'm saying? Any other thoughts on this article shouldn't have been in this discussion.
No, I think it's cool.
I think it's interesting, especially with how were people using dogs, right? Were they using dogs for how the article said were they doing a job? Were they serving some sort of purpose, or were they just hanging out with the people, just following them around where they go, right? So I mean,
it probably starts as if you think about how dogs and humans became incorporated, it starts as humans have food.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Scavenging.
Hanging out on the
remains are hanging out. People are throwing them food.
Or like when we're talking about hunters and gatherers. You know what I'm saying? You hunt. They take the meat they need. They leave a carcass.
Right.
Dogs hang out near these people. We're gonna get some food.
Right.
Exactly.
And as they're migrating, they're just following, and slowly it morphs into, hey, we could use these dogs to help us hunt. We're working together. It's beneficial to both. I think what's cool is. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Correct me if you guys know of anyone. I don't think there's any other animal that has this type of relationship with human beings for as long as they do. I mean, cats maybe could be a good
Horses.
second.
That's what I was thinking.
Horses maybe.
I feel like horses really,
didn't come into the picture till a little bit later. Than I think there's evidence that dogs were around even before horses were. But I mean, that's a very good similarity as horses. You know what I mean?
I feel like horses were more so the working aspect too, working as livestock and hauling things and things like that, helping people move, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot. I mean, not to say that people back then didn't have relationships with their horses, but I think primarily they looked at them as tools, right?
Sure.
As I don't think people looked at dogs like that back then. Who knows that they even understood that? I mean, they obviously figured out eventually, but they. You look at a horse and you're like, that thing can haul some weight. You look at a dog, you're like, it just wants my food. Right?
That depends on the dog.
Likely don't have
some of these dogs.
Until they start figuring out, hey, this dog can track. This dog's picking up scents on animals. It can lead us to certain things.
Exactly.
So I think there was a working. I don't know. I've never researched horses a lot, so I don't know. But my assumption would be that. The dog relationship with people was more of a mutually beneficial relationship, whereas horses is a little bit more like I'm going to use them
Less
to my
beneficial to the horse.
Less, yeah.
Right, exactly.
More
Right.
beneficial to the human.
Right,
Exactly.
Which I'm sure, like I know, I see people with horses, and they're companion animals
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure, especially nowadays. You know what I mean? But the other thing, like I think what this thing's alluding to is like the dogs can help us track the interminglings of people. So you have different cultures that are coming together, whether in trade or whatnot, and now their dogs are interbreeding, and things like that. So it can kind of help show us evidence of what groups of people came into contact with other groups of people, you know what I mean? And so when we're talking about verifying history and different things like that, that's a useful tool for sure, because you have certain breeds that are specific to these different regions, and then all of a sudden they show up in another region. That would be evidence that a certain group of people came and intermixed together, or at least made contact for trade and that kind of stuff, or even war, who knows?
Yeah.
But I think that's cool that we're using dogs to also track the behavior and the history of humans.
Definitely.
Next article here. Humans have a long way to go in understanding a dog's emotions. Summary. New research has revealed that people often do not perceive the true meaning of their pet's emotions and can misread their dog. The reasons for this are many and include a human misunderstanding of dog expressions due to a bias towards projecting human emotions onto our pets. And this study
Big
just came out
surprise.
this year from Arizona State University. So, JC, what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, that's exactly like, how many people do you see that are like, oh, he loves me, his tail's wagging, like that dog does not love that person, and like you can clearly tell. Like, people definitely, they think people have a very hard time of looking at things as how they are versus how they want to perceive them. I feel like, and that applies very big when we're talking about dogs. Like, people forget that at the end of the day, like, these are predators. These are like, have we bred them and made them into being family companions and stuff like that? Yes. But when we look back at like time, they're predators, right? Even now, like, you take a dog and you let it out and there's a bunny rabbit right there, it's gonna go into prey drive. It's gonna chase that thing. Like, and people forget that. They want to, like, they'll see a lot of people be like, oh, my dog's smiling. Their dog's not smiling. It's stressed. It's anxious. It's freaking out. And they're like, oh, they love being here. And it's like, your dog does not want to be here.
Right.
Like, it's definitely a very big thing, and I think that goes back into some of the other articles we talked about, like people rehoming their dogs, people giving their dogs up, people and other animals getting hurt from dogs. It's because people don't truly know what they look for. It's just that lack of education. People, that impulse buying happens when it comes to dogs. People aren't like researching what breed they're getting. They're not researching what that dog's bred to do. So now we have all these things, and then as people, we're like, oh, that's not desirable, stop that behavior.
Right.
Now we're not giving this dog any genetic outlet, and we're just really making the dog suffer for our own sakes.
Right. Danny?
For sure. I mean, a big thing that this article outlines is people applying what they believe the dog is feeling depending on the situation it's in, right? And I couldn't find it, but I read something in here that it's showing people a dog showing some sort of reaction to a, whatever it was, like showing in a reaction to something random, and the people are like, oh, this dog's sad. And then they show a different situation where the dog's showing the same emotion, but like towards a leash or something that would, to most people excited.
Well, they added music too, right?
Yep.
Then they add like somber music
like,
to try
this
to
dog's
shape
happy.
the person's.
Oh, this dog is content, right? But it's showing the same body language.
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
like people, that's definitely a thing where like people take in how they feel about the surrounding, depending on the person. Like
How would
they
I feel in
about-
that?
Exactly.
Right.
And then they portray their own emotions onto the dog, right? Which obviously you cannot do, right? I mean, when you have a dog, you kind of have to, I mean, you don't have to, but it's definitely recommended to, do your research, read up on how dogs think, how dogs learn, how dogs express emotions, how dogs communicate through body language, right? Extremely important, right? Because if you don't have that, even basic knowledge, you can run into situations like how we saw in the first article, which is obviously a tragedy. We don't have to go back to that. But again, just being able to kind of read certain situations that your dog might be in, read how they're responding to those situations, pick up on warning signs that could turn into a problem in the future, whether it's reactivity towards people, towards dogs, whether it's fear or some sort of insecurity. Being able to have that tool, being able to evaluate that, have that in your brain where like you kind of know what your dog is thinking legitimately without applying your own emotions to it, will help set you up for success in making sure your dog's having a a good quality of life and things like that. So I mean, obviously it's such a common thing, I think, that we see as trainers, definitely, and with our clients, is like 50% at least are portraying human emotions onto their dogs. Probably more than that, probably 75% at least,
Right.
which is a problem, right? Because again, like I said, you lead into issues where people are misjudging their dog's emotions and thinking they're thinking some sort of or feeling some sort of other way about something, when in reality you're wrong about that, and there's things that you pick up on to help this dog feel better about this thing, or help this dog calm down about this scenario, right? So I mean, yeah, like I said, it's very common. Definitely our recommendation to kind of do your research, kind of know what you're looking at when you're adopting a dog, for sure.
From the study itself, it says people do not look at what the dog is doing. Instead, they look at the situation surrounding the dog and base their emotion perception off of that. Our dogs are trying to communicate with us, but we humans seem determined to look at everything except the poor dog himself.
Well, and I feel like a lot of people too forget that, like, dogs, we all think, oh, when we communicate, like, we're going to tell you how we feel. Dogs can't physically do that. Like, people forget that you have to look at the whole body, and they just read through that. They don't see it as that's how they communicate.
Yeah, I mean, one example would be like an extremely aroused dog looking at another dog, right? Maybe not reactive, but looking extremely excited, extremely aroused, right? Tail's wagging, their heads up, they're feeling themselves, and then you show someone that, and they're be like, oh, that dog's pissed. That dog, blah, 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 whatever, right? And then you show that same situation where the dog's looking at their owner, or looking at a treat, or looking at a leash, and they're having that, and they're like, oh, that dog's so happy, right? So it's like, again, just people portraying how they think the dog feels, just depending on what's going on around them, is definitely it's interesting too, for sure.
I think the things I think that when I think about this, I think about, like, we've had a discussion. I don't even remember what episode it was, but we had a discussion of souls. Like, do dogs have souls? You know what I mean? It's like, we know, like, we are very complex creatures. We are more complex than the dog. The dog is not as complex as us, right? Like, that's a fact. When we start talking about emotion, I think it's like there's still a lot to be found out and looked at as to what is the complexity of their emotions, and can we even fully understand it, right? Because it's also very unique. Like our last article, we talked about, like, the dog's learning things from us. We're learning things from the dog. We are more intermingled than any other animal in the universe, in existence, right? And so it's like, do things get muddy in there? I think so. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's something to definitely think about. It's like, does a dog actually feel like what's going through their mind when we say that dog's happy? Are they happy in the sense that a human is happy? I tend to think possibly not, right? Like, the difference between potentially being actually happy is what we would think when I'm very happy, versus, like, is the dog content, right? With the current status of what's immediately going on in that moment. You know what I mean? Or like there's videos of dogs allegedly mourning, right, over, like, grave sites and things like that. I'm like, ooh, is there something there, or are they feeding off of some type of human emotion that's going on? I don't know. Like, I think there's a lot to figure out there, but, like, I think what we know is, like, I tend to personally think that the dog's not necessarily capable of thinking that complex with their emotions. And that's not to say, like, because again, does a dog have a soul? I don't know. I want to think so, and I think all of us want to think that, but if we look at the science, it's like, does it? I don't know. I think we got a lot to figure out, but it's definitely an interesting topic. And I think the danger is, like what everybody's saying, is like when we start to project our emotions onto the dog in any specific moment, it's not going to give you the most accurate reading necessarily of what's going on with the dog.
Mm-hmm. All right. Last article coming up. We got the 2025 Dog and Cat Report, revealing a new era of pet ownership.
The tides have turned.
The tides have turned. So we got some trends that are ongoing this year from the report. First of all, cat ownership is on the rise. 23% increase in cat ownership since 2024. More multi-cat homes and a growing appetite for quality time with your cat. I got 2 cats.
It's that cat distribution system.
I got a cat.
Mm-hmm.
I got a
Yeah,
cat.
he scared
Cats
JC
just
the other
show-
day.
Yeah, he walked across the trail, and I've never seen him before. Bodie was trying to, Eat them.
He ventures on this side every now and then. He used to try to get to know Chad's cats, if you know what I'm saying. The biblical term of knowing.
Frisky,
They ganged up on him. Right.
Cat owners are strengthening the human-feline bond by purchasing products that support training and encourage quality time outside the home. Believe it or not, I have a lot of people ask me about cat training.
Are we going to open up a separate department?
I mean, I've helped people with cat training.
Canine Revolution cat training?
I've helped them with cat training.
I'll pass.
All right, from pet parties to themed merchandise, celebrating cats has become a core component of modern cat ownership. People are hosting the percentage of owners hosting holiday birthday parties for their cats in 2024 was 21%, increased by 250% from 2018.
That's a humanizing
An increase in
thing.
250% from 2018.
That's kind of
Throwing
crazy.
parties for your pets is
Aren't
is a
cats
crazy
like
thing.
We love
kind of
cats.
antisocial if they don't interact with like?
Depends on the cat. Depends on the cat.
Depends on the cat.
Depends on the cats. My cats love me. Let's just say that. My cats.
No, but I mean with
He
like
thinks
other
they love
cats,
them. He
like you
thinks
know,
they-
like you don't see two
Projecting
colonies
humor.
of cats just become a group together.
Well, cats, Ben knows some Instagram profiles of the guys that put the cameras on the cats, and the cats are
I've seen these.
the cats are doing their thing, and you see them get into cat fights and go visit
Yep.
these other cats, and the cat society is a crazy society.
I saw a
But
high-speed chase with a cat wearing a camera running from a pack of dogs on the street.
Holy
That shit's
cow,
crazy.
dude. All right, dog ownership trends, the rise of the lifestyle companion. Today's dog owners prioritize shared experiences and deeper connections with their dogs, integrating them into active lifestyles, everyday routines, and travel. Dog owners increasingly incorporate their pets into daily routines that support healthy, active lifestyles. At least once a week, 53% of owners take their dogs on foot for daily errands, a 6% increase from 2023. Let me tell you this, 100% of dog owners should take their dogs on foot for a walk.
Yeah, every day, every day.
And themselves.
At least. They gotta take them to the store every day.
Owners continue to include dogs in their travel plans. A growing number, 74%, have traveled by plane in the last year, up from 68% in 2023, while 87% traveled by a car, a trend that has been consistent from 2023. My own brother, my younger brother, drives from Kansas to South Carolina so he can have his dog with him.
I mean, I do that though.
It's a
I
way to
drive
do
to
it.
Jersey anytime I go because I take my girls. They're
I'm
coming
not
with me.
driving to Massachusetts.
A majority of dog owners want dog-friendly workplaces. Lucky you guys, you got a dog-friendly workplace. Huh? 49% say they are very somewhat likely to take their pet to the office if permitted. I think you should do that. I think that's cool.
It's good
You gotta have
socialization.
training. You gotta
Yeah.
have good training, dude.
There's some caveats.
I got a couple
go.
clients that are office
Caveat?
dogs.
Well,
Yeah, I
there's
mean, those are good.
there's things to think about here.
Okay.
But
What are you thinking about? Well, we'll pause the article read
Okay.
and we'll get your.
Yeah, well,
we'll
here's
get
my
your
thoughts.
thinking.
I like the trend. Okay, I like spending time with my dog. I try to plan my
Do you?
vacations, with the exception of cruises. Okay, but if they made dog friendly cruises, hey, Rampage is there. You know what I'm saying? So I like that trend
good
of
impulse control.
spending time with your dog. Here's the thing that
Kids
people
running
don't
around.
think about is like. We don't think about the changes that we're pushing the dogs into as far as their environments, like the way we lived with dogs 30, 40 years ago, even
Much
much less
different.
further back than that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or a lot like people. Well, I remember growing up as a kid, like that was not a thing. Like you didn't see that a lot. People going out to Lowe's or going to the restaurant. The dogs stayed at home. They were mostly outdoor dogs. They'd be out in the backyard.
Well, yeah, if we go back to 1980, I'm sure it's up by 250%.
Yeah. But the thing that you're seeing is like you're very rapidly and quickly putting dogs into these different scenarios, right? And expecting them to perform like humans. You know what I mean? So I think this
That's where your
now
training comes in.
I think
people.
training now more than ever is more important because like if your dog's just staying at home, sure, like everybody's dog was, fence aggressive. That was a normal thing. Don't go in that guy's backyard. That dog will eat you up, right? Like that's a normal thing. People didn't get behavior training. So it's like the more rapidly we move into this world of like I'm expecting my dogs to be around other strange dogs, other strange people, where people think that they can come up and pet or that all dogs should interact. It's like we're very rapidly putting dogs into scenarios that they're not used to genetically. You know what I'm saying?
Designed to be in.
It's like we're moving faster than the
dogs.
genetics can keep up with. So it's like you've got to have training. You got to train the dog. You got to train yourself to be able to navigate the world with your dog and have realistic expectations.
The more you want to incorporate your dog in your life, the more training is important.
Right.
For sure.
Well, and I feel like the more people like you see more dogs with separation anxiety nowadays than you used to because dogs are going everywhere with their owners.
Yeah.
They
Right.
don't know how to be
You gotta
by
have healthy
themselves.
separation.
Yeah, they don't have that healthy separation. So
Yeah.
like on top of the training, you have to know when it's appropriate and when it's not appropriate. Like
Sure.
you have to be able to differentiate between taking them everywhere with you, but also teaching them how to chill
Right.
by themselves. Also, if the dog even wants to go in that environment, like you see some dogs out in some crazy environments that they do not want to be there.
Right. Well, that's the training of the owner, right? Like you
Understand
got to
your
train
dog.
yourself as to like, should my dog even be here with me?
Right.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I mean, dogs are gonna have some dogs are gonna have limitations in that aspect too that owners might not pick up on, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm sure we've all trained a dog where it's like, hey, this you should not walk this dog to a farmer's market.
Yeah.
Like you should
Right.
not take this dog to a dog park, right?
Right.
So I mean, that's something to put into play too. But I mean, like Chris said, I mean, we're putting dogs into situations that they were not getting put into, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, right? So and they're just simply not designed to operate in certain environments that we're putting them into, right? I mean, people didn't take their dogs.
Or
to
they
farmers
are
markets
adaptable
or-
to do it, right? But you've got to do the
but
work.
you can't
You gotta-
expect them to
Right.
be able
Naturally.
to operate naturally, exactly.
Yeah.
'Cause it's not an environment that they were, meant to be in, right? But yeah, I mean, people love their pets. People definitely get pets.
There's two more parts of this article I think are interesting. One, pet food trends transforming pet nutrition. Dog and cat owners are taking a wellness-focused approach to pet nutrition. Over the past year, owners have made significant shifts in what they feed their pets, favoring premium diets and functional add-ons. After declining in 2023, so I guess premium diets declined in 2023, premium pet food purchases regained momentum in 2024 while basic food purchases declined. To me, a basic food is like your kibble, and a premium food is like your raw food, your farmer's dog, your those kind of things, right? I don't know what all the different
Freeze-dried
options are.
raw, stuff
Yeah,
like
freeze
that.
dried. Yeah, well,
yeah.
we're on the We Feed Raw. All right, so anyway, premium pet food purchases are gaining momentum. Mixers, toppers, tremendous growth over the last 6 years. The cans, the boxes, all the add-ons. 16% of dog owners and 19% of cat owners purchased mixers, toppers in 2024, increasing by 129% from 2018, which is insane. Functional diets like pre and probiotics saw significant growth in 2024. So again, people are taking their pet nutrition more seriously. And I would say in general, at least it seems like society is getting better about their nutrition.
That's what I was going to say.
Since
That's probably tied to
2018.
us, right?
Right,
Like
right.
we are more conscious. We're like,
Right.
dude, I mean,
Feed my dog a bag of rocks.
Yeah, like legit 20 years ago, I mean, Old Roy, yeah. Hey, it's just
Walmart.
dog food, whatever. Give me some Old Roy, bro. And I mean, I was doing the same thing. Yeah, let's eat some McDonald's double cheeseburgers. It's delicious, right? So yeah, I think we're more conscious. Like, nah, this is not good to be
Right.
feeding
Yeah, I think
ourselves
people
or our
are-
dogs.
Overall, people are trying to pay more attention to their health, nutrition, right? Trying to eat better.
Well, that's the first step of your preventative care.
Yeah.
That's
A
true.
good diet.
That's
Right.
true.
Oh, hell yeah.
For you and your dog.
Yep.
And if you got fish, I'm sure there's like a premium fish diet, or whatever.
I'm not in the fish
Chickens.
world.
Couldn't tell you.
All right, last trend here, vitamin and supplement trend. Proactive pet wellness remains a top priority for dog and cat owners, fueling growing demand year over year for vitamins and supplements that support their dog's well-being. Vitamin supplement use continues to grow among dog and cat owners. Let's see if it gives us the percentage since 2018. It's grown since 2018. It's increased 70%. Trends in the most popular types of vitamin supplements vary. Joint health mobility supplements, multivitamin supplements, skin, coat, nail supplements are the most popular among dog owners. Cat owners, multivitamins, pre-probiotics, digestion supplements, most popular types. So these are all the trends that people are doing, which, we got the canine super supplements. Those are freaking good for your dog and for you. Anyway, so that's interesting, right? So I've definitely have seen, like Chris said, since, I'm a kid, or since years ago, the way that people are treating their pets, whether it's your dog, your cat, your horse, whatever it is. I feel like people are definitely paying more attention to nutrition, more attention to supplements. They definitely want their dogs, their cats, their animals more involved. At the farmer's market recently, I seen the people with the goat I've seen the people with snakes. They're walking around with snakes at the farmer's market. Those are their pets. You know what I'm saying?
I have a
Come near
snake.
me. Don't come near me with no
You have a
snakes.
snake?
I have a snake. I got a ball python.
You do right now?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I didn't know
His
that.
name's Lemon.
I got a bunch of snakes out here.
Yeah, but those are a little different. I'm not going to
Wild
go pick up a random snake out of the woods.
Just a quick story. I had like a little grass snake when I was a kid. I'd feed it crickets, and then I had to go to college. I gave it to Chris's younger brother as a pet. He forgot to feed it. It died.
Was it Josh or Matthew?
Matthew.
I don't even remember
So,
having that snake in the
I had
house.
Crickets
a
are a
snake
little
in the
bit better
past.
than
Must have blocked it.
feeding
Oh,
that
you have
thing
to
some
feed
rats.
them?
I have to feed that thing rats.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You go to the
Frozen?
store and get them?
Yeah, I do first. We used to do live, but
Oh,
I
dude.
couldn't do the live. I couldn't
live's
do
crazy.
Holy
I couldn't do it.
cow, that's insane.
But like you'll be
dude.
holding it and it'll
Oh,
it makes you
gosh.
jump every time.
That's crazy.
Yes.
So anyway, I think people are whatever their pet is, getting more involved in it, or getting the pet more involved in what they're doing, taking care of nutrition, all that kind of stuff. So interesting to read. I definitely think that's happening. So a lot of cool things to go through today. So let us know what you guys think, the listener, you listening. Let us know what you think about some of this information. You can leave us a comment. You can leave us a message. You can send us an email. Definitely like getting your perspective as well, because obviously you got some of our perspectives on some of this stuff. Let us know what you think. But as we wrap this up, just real quick going through some stuff here. First of all, if you need training, if you need professional dog training, we can help you out. Canine Revolution Dog Training. You can go to our website, caninerevolutiondogtraining.com. You can email us, info@caninerevolutiondogtraining.com. You can call or text us. We have a new number, 843-376-6452. You can message us on social media, go to our link tree. Again, whatever is easier, we have a link in the description if you want to reach out. We do have board and train programs. We have private lessons. We have virtual coaching. That's for dog owners and for dog trainers and other people that need some virtual help. We have customized programs, so just let us know how we can help you. We've also got Canine Revolution apparel. So if you want a Canine Revolution shirt, you want a Canine Revolution hoodie, you want a Canine Revolution beanie, whatever you want, you can go to Canine Revolution apparel on Amazon or go to the link below. We also have shirts with guineas on them. We have shirts with chickens on them. We have good to go shirts. We have water
Nice
bottles.
pitties.
We got nice fitties. October's coming, right?
Yeah.
We got water bottles. We got coffee cups. So go get you some merch on there that's going to support you and support the podcast. So you're good to go. All right. We already talked about dog nutrition, but we are partnered with We Feed Raw, which is a raw dog food company that will ship raw dog food to your door, which makes it convenient. So you go to wefeedraw.com. You can use the discount code Canine Revolution, all caps, no spaces, spelt out, Canine Revolution. That's going to get you 25% off your first meal plan. The way they do it, you go to their website, you put in your dog's info. It's going to give you a meal plan recommendation. You sign up for that meal plan. You can choose like regular dog food or raw food. You can choose regular raw food, or you can choose freeze-dried raw food. So the regular raw food, they ship it to you frozen with dry ice. You have to keep that refrigerated. But the freeze-dried is just like, it's in a bag. You don't have to handle it a special way. You can just keep it, in your cupboard or whatever, then just take a couple scoops out for your dog's meals. So that's super convenient for a lot of people. Then if you ever decide you want to stop doing a meal plan, you can just cancel it. It's no big deal. Definitely worth trying out, especially with the trends we're seeing. We know people are taking their dog's food, nutrition more seriously. So, boom.
Get on the trend.
We got you covered.
Hell yeah.
We're also partnered with Canine Super Supplements, which is the best dog supplements made in America. I've literally went through a bunch of supplements, looked at them. You're not going to find some that are better than Canine Super Supplements. We use it all the time for dogs in training and our personal dogs. They've got 4 main formulas. They've got joint support formula, which is for your dog's joints. They've got the multivitamin formula, which is for your dog's immunity, digestion, health, skin, coat, nails, all that kind of stuff, right? They've got the weight gainer, which literally puts weight on your dog, and you can take it too. It's got creatine in it, by the way. And you can have the puppy formula, whether you have a puppy or adult dog. But this is basically like enhancing your dog's nutrition. So let's say you're feeding kibble, like old Roy, put some Canine Super Supplements in the kibble, right? That's going to provide benefit to you. And you can give them to your cats too. The Canine Super Supplements, good for your cats, good for your chickens. If I have a chicken that's kind of feeling under the weather, I'm giving them some multivitamin. That's going to boost that chicken right up, right? So caninesupersupplements.com is the website. Discount code Canine Revolution, all caps, no spaces. That gets you 15% off your order. Definitely recommend you check them out. All right, for the humans, because we know we have to take care of ourselves in order to take better care of our dogs, we've got Jocko Fuel as a partner. So the thing about Jocko Fuel, you're good to go, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to go too much into detail. They have basically whatever you're looking for, but you definitely need to be on the protein.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Right now it's gain season for who's in a gain phase right now at the table.
I'm always in.
I'm always in
All
a
of us.
game
You guys
phase.
are always in a gain
Yeah,
phase?
yeah.
Okay.
Why cut?
I'm the only one that cycles?
Yeah.
Some of us have a hard time maintaining weight, so
Some of us have a hard time not eating.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah.
weight cuts are difficult.
Yeah. So you go to jockofuel.com. They got protein options for you. They got milk protein powder. They got milk ready to drink protein. They got milk cookies. Right. So you got
Ooh.
different options.
I haven't heard of those.
You guys
they're
had that
good.
Cookies
They're
yet?
good.
Good. So I'm on the vanilla protein powder right now. I just finished the cycle of I cycle my protein powder.
Change it up.
Just like a bodybuilder cycles steroids. You know? So I'm cycling my protein.
Uh-huh.
So I just finished a cycle of mint chocolate chip, which is
Ooh.
freaking good, dude.
Sounds
Oh,
good.
it's
Mint
good.
chocolate chip.
Oh yeah, have you had it?
No, I haven't. That sounds fire.
Yeah, it's good. I've
It's
had that
good.
one.
Really?
It's like dessert, legit. And so now I have
Like the
I'm
coffee
back
and
on the
donuts?
vanilla. The vanilla's freaking good, dude.
Coffee
Like-
and donuts. I'm eager.
Well, yeah, Chris just ordered the coffee and donuts flavor. So you need protein, so you go to Jocko Fuel, you get your protein. You need creatine. Who's here on creatine?
Oh yeah.
On the
JC, are we on the creatine
On
yet?
the creatine.
Not yet.
What the hell, dude?
Jocko
It's-
creatine.
Get on the Jocko
Probably
creatine.
the best one to be on. Best supplement.
I'm about to
be on.
make a big Jocko order, so I'll just. add
I'm
that
on
into it.
4 scoops of creatine a day right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah,
4
20
scoops?
grams. 20 grams.
I'm a double
big guy.
scooper. I'm
I'm
a
a big
double
guy.
scooper.
It's not good for you, dude.
Are you kidding me? It's definitely good.
Isn't
for
it
you.
bad for your kidneys?
Nah,
dude?
that's a rumor.
Not,
don't-
not
That's a
Jocko's
rumor.
creatine. That's probably
I also-
some knockoff made in China
I
shit.
also get
It's
my blood
Jocko,
work
dude.
checked every 3 to 6 months. Anybody else getting their blood work checked?
Nah, I gotta
Okay,
get on
so
that.
I know my kidneys are
I'm
good. to
scared of
go,
needles.
Danny.
Okay,
I know
okay,
my kidneys.
okay.
Well, that doesn't mean
Shit,
anything.
You gotta
right?
drink a lot of water.
They
You just
got
got to get it done, right? You got to, we were talking earlier about, preventative care. Getting your blood work done is actually preventative care for you, right? Right, guys?
It's on the list.
All right. So
Like
anyway,
living.
you need to be on the protein, you need to be on the creatine and fish oil. I always talk about the fish oil. You know why? Because I do my blood work, and I know I need those omega-3s. You know who else needs them? It's good for your heart, good for your brain. You know who else needs them?
Your dogs.
Your dog. Right? So Bane went to the cardiologist. He said, hey, he's got some arrhythmias, so you need to increase his omega-3s, right? So he's on the Jocko Fuel fish oil, 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening, right?
Nice.
No factor for this guy, right? Yeah, if you're watching, Bane's been in and out of the cameras today.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, you got to take care of yourself. So I recommend the milk protein, the creatine, the fish oil. That's your bare bone, and the vitamin D3. I'll just stop there. Well, and you want
You
to
gotta get the. I was about to say, dude, come on. You gotta have the
Gotta
energy.
get
You want to get the
goes.
the clean energy. You don't want Celsius bullshit. You don't want white monster
I saw
bullshit.
JC drinking a rain this morning.
You don't want the rains. You don't want this
You don't
shit,
want the
right?
rains.
They need to start selling Jocko and more gas.
Anyway, go to
That's true,
jockofuel.com. Discount codes Canine Revolution. It's 10% off. All right. Make sure you guys follow us on all your favorite social medias so you can stay in touch with us. We appreciate all feedback. We appreciate your time, your listening, if you're still listening after all that. But let us know how we can help you. And until next time, this is Pack Talk Podcast.